Silent Hill 2 is a survival horror game released in the year of 2001, published for release on Xbox and PS2 and later ported to PC in 2002. Released by Konami of Tokyo, this game uses tank controls to weaken the human fight or flight response. Silent Hill 2 does not use a HUD display, it rather uses the character's actions and noises to relate a health system. It is also available through the start menu. The game uses a thick fog system inspired by the original Silent Hill to portray you being lost in an evil area known as Silent Hill. The goal of Silent Hill 2 is to get James Sunderland to his wife, with enemies in the general area notifying you of their presence through the radio James carries on him, which emits a white noise. This game is not made scary by the game itself, it was actually made scary by the audio and visual representation of the monsters. For those of you who may have seen the film, the dreaded arbiter of the world is Pyramid Head. Although inaccurate to the game, it's still interesting to see this as a cameo in the film. The combination of the eerie world, creative monster design, and the ambience makes this game number 5 on our list. Ju on the Grudge Haunted House Simulator is a Japanese survival horror game by XSEEK Games for the Wii. Released in 2009, now this game is not particularly horrifying, but it is because of its mechanics. Its slow-moving character and poor controller responses create a strangely eerie atmosphere. Also, not knowing what exactly is going on make the jump scares really take you by surprise. This game is centered around a family who moves into a cursed house. Several of the family members are playable characters in their respective participation of the game. The main enemy, named Kayako, hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly, will pounce on you at random moments, and the game makes you feel as if you cannot stand still. The plot of the game is justified by this statement: the woman who once lived in the home died with a burning grudge, leaving behind the curse. Although receiving poor scores, this game is a great collection piece, but it is better played in an emulator with a lot of game-changing plugins and controller modifications.
Number 3. Dead Space. Dead Space is a science fiction survival horror video game developed by Visceral Games and published by EA. It was released in the US October of 2008 for PS3, Xbox 360, and PC. The player controls Isaac Clarke, a ship systems engineer who must fight his way through a mining starship infested with an alien scourge. The crew has been slaughtered, and their corpses reanimated into creatures known as necromorphs. Various types of necromorph appear throughout the game, each with different abilities and requiring different tactics to defeat. The game is played from an over-the-shoulder, third-person perspective. Dead Space does not use a traditional heads-up display. Instead, all information is relayed to the player via holographic projections from Isaac's resource integration gear spacesuit and the weapons themselves. The combat involves a mechanism called strategic dismemberment, in which the player must cut off limbs or sections of the necromorphs to defeat them. Dead Space was both a critical and commercial success, receiving exceptional scores all around and even being dubbed the world's scariest game. Number 2. Amnesia. Amnesia: The Dark Descent is a survival horror video game by Frictional Games, released for Microsoft Windows, Mac OS X, and Linux platforms. It was initially released September of the year 2010. The game features a protagonist named Daniel exploring a dark and foreboding castle, while avoiding monsters and other obstructions, as well as solving puzzles. Amnesia is played from a first-person perspective. The game retains the physical object interaction used in the Penumbra series, allowing for physics-based puzzles and interactions such as opening doors and fixing machinery. Few in-game objects are operated by toggle. To open a door, for instance, the player must hold down a mouse button and then push or pull the mouse. This gives the player stealth, allowing them to peek out of a barely opened door or open it slowly to sneak away, but also adds to the player's sense of helplessness, as it is now entirely possible to attempt to push open a pull door whilst danger approaches from behind. In addition to a health indicator, Daniel's sanity must be managed. Being in darkness too long, witnessing unsettling events, or staring at monsters will reduce Daniel's sanity, causing visual and auditory hallucinations and drawing the attention of monsters. Amnesia has received critical acclaim with consistent praise given for the ominous atmosphere and horror elements. Its clever and fear-inducing gameplay puts Amnesia at number 2 of our list.
So first place was a dead tie, Outlast or PT Silent Hills. Our reason being is that PT was just a demo, Outlast was a full game with DLC. But with that, we'll explore both of them and talk about them in depth. PT Silent Hills was directed by Hideo Kojima, probably one of the most intelligent horror game developers there ever was. He worked with Guillermo del Toro, who, might I add, probably is one of my favorite monster creators of all time. But I digress. So Silent Hill playable teaser was released on PS4 in 2014 and was later discontinued by Konami. It is also removed from the store and is sadly no longer available for download. The game uses a psychological horror element by having the player revolve around a room over and over, uncovering the secrets that may have happened in the room. And eventually a monster attacks. Her name is Lisa, and unlike previous games, you have no means of escape, no means of defense, you just have to take the scare. And you have to stare as this horror unfolds. The game essentially revolves around this character haunting you as the psychological ambience and noise sneak in, causing dread over and over again. Oh, there's also that baby, the one that's like out of Eraserhead. Yeah, fuck that.
Moving right along to the tie game, we have Outlast developed by Red Barrels in 2013, and later on in 2014, a remake for the PS4. Outlast was praised for its horror, involving brand new mechanics, everything from ambience to jump scares. This game is played in the first person. You're a video journalist led to a supposedly horrible psychiatric hospital, but you don't know how bad it truly is. In the beginning, you find out SWAT was already at the location. More information is given to you, but that's a spoiler. Let's just say the enemies are deformed, and the darkness is truly terrifying. If you don't like hospitals, this game will never even make you want to drive near one. The sinister camera batteries that is more rare than a sealed copy of Jew on the Grudge, plus the slow pace of the Outlast make the game gruesome.
Do you feel the